I welcome Dr. Ananda Kumar, Dr. K. Prakash and Dr. Deepak Verma to chair the session.
I congratulate Dr. Baiju and his team for having included this topic, because most of the Western literature nowadays, around burnout in surgeons is alarming, and I think we'll have to be aware of the syndrome of burnout. I think Professor Haridas is the right person to talk on this with his vast experience. Dr. Haridas.
Respected chairpersons, distinguished delegates, thank you once again for the opportunity, Dr. Baiju. A week ago, Dr. Baiju rang me up and said, you have a topic to speak on that is going to be, I couldn't understand initially. He said, surgical career. I said, fine. And what next? Competition and burnout. And then he said, is it a fair fight, fair deal? I didn't know either. I thought immediately, surgical career, a competition. Why there is a competition if you are competent? That was my first thought. Why should you burn out? Who asked you to burn out? No. And is it a fair fight? You have to find out yourself. That's my first answer immediately that came to my mind. I tell you something, probably a little different. Those are only my thoughts, may not be your thoughts, the way I look at surgery. We live in the 21st century. Have we moved up to that position? Many of us, we haven't. I am reminded of a quotation from Winston Churchill. In the past, we had a light that flickered. In the present, we have a light that flames. In the future, there will be a light that shines all over the land and sea. The future he predicted is the present. That is, we have the light that shines all over the land and sea. So you are in the middle of floodlight. You can see everything everywhere. So are we seeing? I don't know. We have to find out. Where is the general surgeon stands today? When I came back from England in the early 80s, my chief was referring patients to gastro, then started in Trivandrum, just started, for doing sigmoidoscopy. I was doing sigmoidoscopy in the outpatient. Sclero injections for hemorrhoids and banding in the outpatient. So I said, I was an assistant professor then. I said, nothing doing. And I thought they might even refer a patient for PR after some time to gastroenterology. This is the problem with our surgeons. They leave it. And general surgeons did everything that time. Then what happened? And you must give them, don't bore them with small things for the gastro surgeons to do. That is a different thought. I'm going to focus on two things. Focus on glamour in surgery. Is there a glamour? Flaws in surgery. Blemish in surgery. Then we'll have a few minutes for interaction. I've been one of those few lucky who could spend time through the good times of conventional, traditional surgery way back in the early 70s, 80s, and early 90s. And then I could also take a journey through the early part of the minimally invasive laparoscopic surgery. Probably that is 25 years old plus, yeah. it will easily take another 50 years to mature. There are a lot more things to come. Why choose medical profession in the first place? 50% choose on their own, probably, I'm not quite sure. 25% they are not sure why they have chosen. 25% prompting. What are the prerequisites for a person to do medicine? Definitely you must have the flair. You don't need to be a very intelligent man with a very high IQ and all that. You need only common sense. If you have it more, you are better off. If you have it in abundance, you will be wonderful. No compulsion. It's your choice, your profession. But you need total commitment and dedication. I used to think, even you might think it is very strange to think that way. You have to give me a few more minutes anyway. I am not going to stop. And any subject, whether he studies maths, physics, history or economics in +2, it doesn't make any difference for doing medicine. What he has studied for +2 is not the one, not going to what he is going to study in medicine, in the medical college. Nothing to do with what you had studied in the +2. So it doesn't matter. Anybody can join for medicine who has got a flair for medicine, who wants to do medicine. Then postgraduate selection. When it comes to postgraduate selection, lots of flaws. Someone who wants to become a skin specialist, when the ranking comes, gets selected for surgery. After MBBS, 2-3 years, they sit down at home and read for the next entrance examination. You have to get an PG entrance. In any case, he is determined. And he doesn't work, sit at home and read. That doesn't happen in the Western any civilized country. We recommend you sit at home and read for the next examination. You would have lost all his clinical experience and exposure by then. And he gets medicine, he gets surgery. He never wanted to do surgery. He wanted to become a radiologist or probably a skin specialist. Just imagine one of our well-known skin specialists becoming a surgeon operating on you. So, having got it, the family, friends and everybody will say, having got it, it's a postgraduate selection, do it. You are doing it. That doesn't make it, that will not make a surgeon. Making of a surgeon is very important. Solutions are there actually plenty. If you can, instead of a general entrance examination, you can make 4 broad categories: surgery, surgical specialty; medicine, medical specialty; gynec specialty. So only then you get surgeons who are really interested in surgery. Choosing a surgical career. Why do you want to choose surgical career? Find out yourself whether you are the right person. There must be, I would have thought there must be a professional assessor. Somebody like who is really with a lot of dexterity, talent, skill. They are very few. They are the outliers. Dr. Ismail, Dr. Baiju, and many others like Dr. Prakash. And if I leave behind some name, excuse me, actually, there are many talents here. Otherwise, you won't be here. Dr. Ramesh, his father, was my professor, Dr. Endrajan. When he did liver resection, I too did as an assistant professor in the medical college when we didn't have Dr. Ismail might recall those days in the early 80s. So it's your commitment, your dedication, your determination, and your passion, your obsession. Surgery must be your obsession. So you find out whether you have a talent. You have to have an artistic talent. I've seen the watch worker, watch repairer. He has a magnifying glass. The way he looks at, that's the way the surgeon must be. He mustn't see anything else. The watch repairer is not seeing anything else. He can't see anything else. He must be creative. He must be innovative. And you need dexterity. You need dexterity. You know what it is. You have to be ambidextrous. Why? Because today you have the laparoscopic surgery. You need both hands equally. Dr. Ismail is very good at it. And you have to use both hands equally. You have to find out. In India particularly in Kerala, 60% or more choose medicine. Less than 20% choose surgery. Other 20% choose other specialties. In the West, or even in India, in other states, surgery is the most sought specialty. Why? It's well paid, you are known, you are respected, there is a high level of job security. It's challenging. If you have to enjoy, you must do something challenging. And it is rewarding as well. What are the problems? You have chosen surgery. You must be prepared to face the problems. It takes many years. Here the problem is you finished MS, it's only a license. MS is only a license to practice. In the West, they give a diploma. FRC is only a diploma. And here what they give? They give MS, Master of Surgery. I believe actually nobody ever becomes a Master of Surgery. I'm not a master in anything. There is only one master, or the master's voice. That is all I know about master. So it is master. The first, that's the only degree where you are the master. And 28-year-old gets a master's degree. He thinks he has done everything. He's a master. He never stops. He cannot work as an assistant. He cannot be a trainee. He is grabbed by some remote hospitals, pays him 2 lakh, 3 lakh, he is very happy. But lifetime he earns only that. So, to start off, even a MS degree, I don't agree with actually. You are not a master. There is only one master. Needs high level of commitment, dedication. You need long hours, complex procedures to tackle. You need a high-level skill set. Are we training any skill set in our MS degree? Is there any program attached to the curriculum to find out the skill set, to train them on skill sets? Techniques keep changing, like a robot. That's the only thing I wanted to do before. I must become an assistant to Yaqub. That is what I have in mind. To learn, that's the way I look at surgery. I like to learn whatever is in front of you. Every new thing is better than the existing one. That's the way I look at it. You must have that attitude. You have to learn new skill sets throughout your career. A trainee surgeon needs, what is the time required for a trainee surgeon, MS? After that is sits and reads for the next examination. I'll take some more time. Next examination, MCH. Once he finished MCH, actually there is no senior surgeon, all are of more or less same age group. He will join a hospital as a chief consultant surgeon in urology, gastroenterology, whatever specialty he is in. And again he needs training. And I've seen people having problems, they are not confident, they are training themselves, they are passing through hard times, etc. And we take it easy. You need a minimum 10 years of training in surgery, minimum, unlike physicians. I used to say the difference, to attract people in Kerala, I used to tell my students actually, the physicians here mustn't misunderstand me. Surgery we treat, physicians they manage. To become a surgeon is a privilege because a surgeon can be a good physician also, provided he reads a little more, whereas a physician cannot be a surgeon. This is just to attract them, I used to, but very few people came forward. Craft perfection need minimum 10,000 hours of work. That means easily, if you take 8 hours a day, easily 4 years, something like that. But exceptions are there. That is what we are not talking about. Exceptions are here, actually. Dr. Ismail, Dr. Baiju, Dr. Prakash. They are outliers, actually. They are different. They are exceptions. I don't count them. They are exceptions. You cannot catch them. Qualities of surgeon, he needs warm personality, interacting, communicating, explain to the patient what he is going to do, be gentle to them. You have to have an ethical approach. You are not running after fame and money. Realistic self-analysis, I'm running through because I've only limited, this is one of the problem, limited time. Curiosity, courage. Yeah, you need courage. You must be able to work in crisis. Who wants to do surgery? There is a decline in interest. Why? Because the students believe that a career in surgery cuts deeper than scalpel. They ranked family and personal time as top priority. Profession demands true commitment. Surgeon works more than 120 hours per week. Dermatologists work less than 40 hours a week. Women are not successful. Why? They don't have the time. Their interests are different. You need passion. I would say obsession, and that will give you eventually, you are meditating while you are operating. Young surgeons today like 9 to 1 p.m. work, and then they don't have time. They have to, as people choose career, they have look at role models. Do we have any role model today? Do we see any of those today? To become a surgeon, what are the attributes? Obviously, I said very strong desire, perseverance, ability to work under pressure, handle crisis, very important. Because I am under pressure, I cannot do the surgery, I cannot open up the tear. There is a liver tear, I can't suture it. You have to work under pressure. It may not be one patient, several patients running into your hospital in casualty with ruptured spleen, ruptured pancreas, liver and all that. Ability to work hard, long hours, dexterity. You need to work with mind and hands. Respect human body and life. Burnout. Why burnout? Whose choice? Once chosen, accept it. Fight it. Many burn their fingers because of not having commitment. Today surgeons run from a hospital to many other hospitals. Why do they do that? What kind of care you can give? You operate and leave to somebody, to a house surgeon, ask him to look after. Patients will not have confidence on you. You are the only person to answer in the court of law. You are the only one responsible. What is that you aim at? Money or fame? Analyze yourself. Competition. Why should there be a competition if you are competent? Thank you very much. And we'll have some interactive session. If you like, a few minutes we can you can ask me. I'm sure it may not have touched everything, but have touched the surgeon. Thank you.
Who do just their jobs, please.
No, I'm
understand
not
this.
talking about you particularly.
No.
Don't misunderstand me.
No, sir.
I'm saying actually.
In a public forum, you should not have said this.
No, the thing
There are
is.
women around. We have women here.
No, I don't have anything. Yeah, you sit down. She practices in England. She is a consultant physician. She wanted to do surgery when she was a third year student. She saw me operating. I was doing a hernia darning. I said, Mol, are you sure? This is going to be tough. And I didn't prompt her. I said, you take something else. That is what I personally did. And many women, surgeons, they get married, they become pregnant, they have to take care of the baby, take care of the husband. How many of our Malayali or Indians help the lady at their kitchen? Yeah, I know. There are many. Yeah, his wife is a dermatologist. Ophthalmologist. That is 9 to 5 work. And emergencies. I'm not trying to ridicule or insult anyone. We are all one and the same, whether you are a lady or I am a man. We do the same job. Our job is to look after your patient. But ladies, I would have thought lady surgeons should have more dexterity. There must be more lady surgeons coming forward. What prevents them?
I think we'll wind up because there is.
Well, that way, I never meant that way. It was different because they have to work in a limited period of time under stress. Husband will demand, child will demand.
We are more resistant to stress.
Yeah. Okay, fine. I understand your feeling. Yeah. Thank you very much.
In India, there are a lot of laws that the doctors should not publicize, means should not come in public that we are doing this thing and that thing, and you cannot publish in papers that you are doing this thing and that. How do you reach people? Suppose you are
That used
expert
to
in
be-
some field.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How people come to know about you?
Absolutely. That is something, and some people, philanthropists, and some people donate, give out charity, and they never said that. They always said, don't tell me, I don't tell anyone. I've donated 10 lakhs to that charity, that Bhavan, Gandhi Bhavan, or whatever Bhavan. Don't tell anyone. And one of my professors, it was Dr. Balsalam. He said, Dr. Haridas, if you are doing it, let people know, so that they will also contribute. Otherwise, nobody will contribute. So it is important. Similarly, I said, telling you, in the past, this was against medical ethics, and probably the registrar, the medical council would have probably asked you to explain as well in the past. But unlike in the past, today the emerging newer technology must reach the public also. They must know what are the centers where. See, now how many people knew that Dr. Ayub is doing robotic surgery in Nascha, unless we tell others. There is no harm actually. What all things you do in a particular hospital. I have so many innovative, so many minimally invasive procedures like WAFT, RFA, all those things I do because it's my strong desire. And so many procedures. Unless I tell, my colleague will never tell. My colleague will be the most unhappy person if others come to know. Thank you very much anyway. Thank you. There is no controversy about the lady surgeons. Actually, I didn't mean it.
Subjects, because probably Dr. Baiju meant to enlighten the young surgeons about burnout in surgeons. I think ACS has done a recent survey on burnout in surgeons, and it has been found that 1/3 of surgeons go into burnout for various reasons. Out of which, what they have publicized is, it is the trauma surgeons, otolaryngologists, And of course, transplant surgeons are also
Gastrosurgeons, obviously, yeah.
aware of all,
Long hours.
you should be aware of all these facts, and I think we have to take care of ourselves and possibly spend more time with the family.
Finally, you reached there. Thank you very much
Thank you.
for having me and patient hearing, for your patient hearing. Thank you. Second. The President, Dr. Prakash, Padma Shri, Professor M. Krishna Nair, Dr. Baiju, Dr. Verma, Dr. Srijit and Kumar. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm not going to give you a lecture now. I have one to go in a few minutes, I suppose. And there I'm going to elaborate many things about the surgical career, I'm sure. That might be probably a little controversial, but I always like controversy. And I wanted to say one thing actually about Professor M. Krishna Nair. But for him, we wouldn't have had the RCC today. And he is the founder director. I used to tell people the RCC must be named after him. There is no doubt about it. That is about him. And then as a human being, actually, when I came back from UK in the 80s, and he was the one prompted me to go ahead with my liver surgery in the later half of 1980. And he referred a patient, his name is Joseph, who underwent the gastrectomy. 9 years before, came to him with a secondary in the left lobe of the liver. And that was a patient secondary. I did a left hemihepatectomy. That was the first liver resection. Not many surgeons were venturing in Kerala at that time. And Suthindran, the liver surgeon at Amrita, used to ask me whenever he sees me, "Sir, how dare you were to do, what did you have? You had only your fingers and some suture which used to break linen and thread and some artery forceps." We did extensive resections that time. And it was probably the commitment and determination. That is what surgeons will have to develop. That is what I'm going to talk about. Who should be the surgeons? Who should go take up surgery as career? That is something I'll elaborate later on. Thank you very much. I wish the very best for the proceedings and for the deliberations today. And I hope many more people will join. Actually, everybody with their operations on this is already planned, isn't it? More people should have turned up. Kerala is not a small country. We have so many surgeons and gastroenterologists and general surgeons. What do they do now? Are they not doing any gastrosurgery? The gastrosurgeons must be doing the complex gastrosurgical problems like esophagus, liver, pancreas, advanced colonic problems and all that. What are they doing now? This is only the problem that has happened. Why don't you call them, your own friends, colleagues, your seniors? They must join with you also. And don't try to keep away and you think you are a separate entity. Nothing like that, actually. It's all the same, actually. We all have to sit together and take part in building up any surgical specialty. So I hope actually more surgeons, more gastroenterologists and medical gastroenterologists. Where are they actually? I don't see many medical gastroenterologists. They should be joining as well. Thank you very much for the time.